Africans, they do not sell their own brothers. And so it is a lie. When you read from the history books, the title, The Slave Trade. When you say trade, you mention trade. The economist, the businessman, the lawyer knows that it is an interplay between the buyer and the seller, and the subject being goods and sometimes services. This was not a trade. The trade in the human being, in the African, took place in Europe and America. Here, it was the capturing of the black man. Yes. So, the slavery was actually perpetrated by the European and their collaborators, just as the Holocaust was executed by the Nazis and their collaborators, and not Germany as a country. We did not sell our brothers and sisters. It was a violence of 350 years. And that 350 years, this is what happened. You read history books, they tell you that between 12 and about 20 million Africans, now 15 million people lost their lives in the capturing and then transportation to the coast. Because sometimes about 500 miles and you have to walk from Kano to Port Harcourt or from Salaga to Elmina. So for the 350 years, about 15 million people lost their lives. Then another 15 million people lost their lives during the transshipment, which we refer to as the Middle Passage, because they wouldn't have too much food to feed you, just a little to survive you. And so there was the survival of the fittest. 15 million was able to reach the Americas. So in all, this continent lost 45 million of its sons and daughters in the period of 350 years. And as I say, it was the survival of the fittest, the strongest. In Africa, it was the survival of the weakest. Why? Young people, maybe from the ages of about 16 up to about 40, taken away to the Caribbean. So here, what they left were the very old people and extremely weak people. And that was one side of it. The other side was that for every 3 men, they wanted 1 woman. And most of the women died. So in the Caribbean, you had about 6 men to 1 woman. Yes, and in Africa, the women here, beautiful women here in Africa, for 350 years, you'll be compelled to marry very old men, very weak men, very sick men, because those capable of doing anything had been sold, had been transported away to be sold over there. Now, when you meet a Caribbean, he tells you, you sold us. That statement would mean that life there was worse and here was better. No. For 350 years, they were chasing us. For 350 years, the African has been made an enemy to his own. And as somebody just said, they will bring guns. You are in a group. They shoot one. You see one has died. The rest will have to stand still so that they take all of you away. Nobody sold anyone. Life here was worse than over there. And over there too, life was very, very bad. You give birth to children. Those who didn't know, an African woman giving birth to 3 or 4 children. Somebody comes from Philadelphia and buys one like a puppy. Somebody comes from New Jersey and buys the other one away. That was what was happening to African women. And here, civilization ceased for 350 years. Look at the writing we had started. This is the meaning, unity in diversity. The chief will be able to explain to that. Look at that things, the African music, whatever, tools that we started. For 350 years, we didn't have young people to continue that civilization. So almost everything ceased. Look at the clothes they are wearing. It was not white people who taught us this. And the one wearing smoke, this one, and the MC, what he's wearing, please let them see you. It's not the white people who taught us this, but the civilization of continuously improving upon them had to cease for 350 years. But I won't end until I add that God always visits his people. It was part of their policy that anytime they discovered brilliant young men and women, the brightest and the best, they would send them to the metropolitan country like France, like Germany, like Holland, like Britain, train them, and then they will become black white men and help them to rule. And Kwame Nkrumah became the odd one. He stowed away and found his own life in America, where he had the opportunity of becoming a student of Marcus Garvey, who had always preached that Africa is for the Africans. And one day, all Africans will come back in a ship called the Black Star, where we rule ourselves.